Good morning. All right, let's get started. Let's get started. reason why I keep looking at the screen is to make sure that the software doesn't stop when it's recording properly. Yeah. What am I trying to see? What do I want to learn? What do I want to listen to? Excuse me. want to read this with you guys. It's my first time reading, but I just want to read it with you guys. So I'm reading about Anthony Bourdain, his interviews. It's called The Last Interviews, I think. Last Conversation. Yeah. So it's called Anthony Bourdain, The Last Interview and Other Conversations. All right. Let me go from here. So we have an interviewer. I'll start with the interviewer asking the question. Here we go. There's a great line in Medium Raw where you said being a heroin addict was fantastic preparation for being a celebrity. Bourdain says, yeah. Interviewer asks, laughing, could you please explain? Bourdain says, well, particularly in the world of television, but it's also true, I think, in any media, there are a lot of people out there who are full of shit. People will tell you, especially in Hollywood, they're telling me, we love your work, we really want to work with you, we're terribly excited about this new project, all of those things, When you're a junkie, it is necessary that you very quickly, because you're desperate, you only have $10 and you need to get well with it, and you're buying it on the street from some pretty hardcore characters. You're surrounded by hustlers with a real imperative to hustle. You just develop a sort of sixth sense. You become a pretty good judge of character. Is this person reliable, or are they full of shit? Are they the sort of person who is going to do what they say they are going to do? And you develop this sort of feral sense, which I think is true of chefs as well. You look into someone's eyes and you ask yourself, you believe there are only two kinds of people in the world. There are the type of people who say they're going to do something tomorrow and they actually do it. And then there's someone else, and then there's everybody else. And having been a heroin addict, you have to develop at least some skills as far as judging which type of person that it might be you're dealing with, or you end up dead, or well, you don't end up on the street very long. I agree with this. This is something that I talked about with my friend the other day. It was about and I showed this like 10 minutes after the video, right before I solved this thing. Every time that I start my day, and there are moments when I quote unquote don't feel like doing it. For goodness sake, it's not easy reading. In my honest opinion, it's not easy reading for an hour every day. But I'm doing it like what, 2-3 hours? I'm pretty proud of what I'm doing. Having that, not the activity, but the mindset of saying that I want to do this and then keeping on with it. And the reason why I am able to currently do it is I try to look at I try to look at why I need to do it. I'm looking back at the, what am I on, 277 hours? I'm looking back at the 276 hours that I've done almost every day, at least this year. Last year I definitely didn't do it because I didn't have that sight. I didn't have that goal in mind. Now, ever since the beginning of the year, I just gave my mentality a quick, nice slap on the ass. It's like, get to work, quote unquote, get to work, whatever that means. But personally, you either do something that you say that you're gonna do, or you don't do it. And the people that say that they don't do, people that say that they're gonna do it, but they don't end up doing it, that in itself also splits into different groups. But I think overall it's just two groups. People that do not have a clear sight of what they actually want to do it. They actually want to do this thing, but they cannot because they cannot really see themselves actually doing it. Does that make sense? Yeah. And then there are the others. Everybody else is just say shit. It's just like like, like I don't know, like spitting on the floor when you're walking around town. No purpose. You just do it. And so why I even brought this up in the first place was my friend was looking at it in he said that it was a very human thing to do, to have fluctuating emotions, as in, I don't feel like doing something today, or I was reflecting on the conversation, and he spoke on it very well, very coherently, eloquently. His points were very well organized. Something that I utterly fail to do because I don't talk to a lot of people, and I don't really have a I can't really organize my thoughts coherently. It's something that I need to practice. But what I was talking to him about was that temptation of, so we were talking about losing weight. We're talking about losing weight. We're talking about not eating. Let's say if you want to lose weight, if you want to have a lean body, losing body, what's it called? You're lowering your body fat percentage. In order to do that, you can't be eating cheesecakes. You can't be eating chicken nuggets. You can't be eating. You can't be drinking soda. Well, you can, but literally, you're gonna have to starve all day because you have to lose weight. It's weight loss, because weight loss is all about deficit of calories. So you can technically lose weight, but it's also gonna be very detrimental to your health. It's not gonna be very good in the end. You're gonna have complicated myriad of number of problems. So we were talking about, if you're eating, chances are if you're eating to lose weight, you're gonna be you're gonna end up with a lot of flavorless food. Chances are, you're gonna have to eat something that you don't want to eat, and you're gonna have to eat that every day. Now, there can be a debate about flavorless, but what I mean is, you're not gonna have the same amount of salt, sugar, all these very saturated colors of flavors. It's gonna be different, but it's nowhere gonna be the same as the regular, very addictive, very saturated foods that you're used to eat, that you're used to eating, that you're used to eating, that you're used to eating. Yeah. And when we were talking about that temptation to eat a cheesecake, after about 60 days of eating the same thing every day, I told him, when that happens, yeah, you can have temptations, but then the moment you give in to those temptations and you actually eat the cake, that's when what do you call it? That happens because your goal, your sight, your eyes on the goal, it's not as clear. That's when you lose focus, is what I'm trying to say. Because doing something for 2 months previously, if you've eaten something, the same thing every day for 2 months, that's already in itself, it's not about mind, it's not about willpower, it's not about motivation, but it's definitely about you have a sight on that goal, and you're able to just do it. But in the moment when you lose sight of that goal because of the temptation right in front of you, you're blinded. And I was talking to him about that in itself. Well, I was telling him that the person who gave into those temptations didn't have a distinct goal. It wasn't clear enough. To which, if I reflect back, it is a very human like thing. See, this is what I mean. I'm just terrible at speaking. Because personally, I think once you have sight on something, once you want to do something and you want to do it, I think everyone is capable of doing this. Like I'm not like a special person, you know? Like of me listening to like a bunch of albums, me losing to like 7% body fat. It's all very humanly capable things, but we just don't want to look. We just don't want to look at it though. Like we just don't want to imagine ourselves doing it, like reaching that goal. It's not really about you know, and that's the thing that I wanted to talk about. It's not really about human kind of thing. I feel like once you really have the goal in mind, the temptation shouldn't even happen in the first place. You're just like, oh yeah, that looks good. Like, because it's not gonna be forever, right? A cut, a cut usually lasts like 4 months, right? 4 months, maybe five. I don't know. For me, it was about 4 months. And it wasn't like 5, 10 years. Like that would be something entirely different. But a couple of months, it's not a difficult thing to do. It's all very relative, but the reason why I even say difficult um, is it's the same thing. People go to work every day, right? People go to work. People wake up early. People, have the mindset to do all this. Now, what I'm not understanding is why can't they develop another mindset to um, set a different goal for themselves when they already have that much willpower to sustain themselves. I cut when I was working. I ate, you know, I ate when I was, I ate, um, I made food. I woke up at like 5 o'clock at 5 in the morning every day. I went to sleep at like 10. I commuted 3 hours every day. I worked out right after I finished work. So I'm, I'm not trying to, and this is obviously when it's also very different. Whether or not you have certain responsibilities, like if you have a family, if you have kids to take care of, that's a different story. But if you're just a single person, without any severe life responsibilities, I think it's a very doable thing for anyone, right? Like, I'm not trying to put myself on a pedestal here, for goodness sake. I'm literally saying that everyone else can do it once they actually see themselves in that goal. And if it's something that they really, really want to do. Like, that's what I mean. You gotta really put yourself. It's directly um, related, the clarity of the goal with how much you want it. That's why patience wasn't. It's relative. I think it's relative to how much you want the thing. Patience in itself, yeah, it's how much you want it. Like I can cook a steak. I can cook like a really, really, if I know how to cook it and if I know the steps. Cooking a steak for 60 minutes is not a it's not a quote unquote difficult thing because I want it. and the time is just relative. It's just a process. Like, if I, for instance, take this coffee, right? I want to drink it, but then if I want to drink it, I would have to lift my arm. I would have to move my fingers. I would have to um, grab onto the cup. I would have to deal with the coldness of the cup, and then I would have to bring it up to my mouth. I would have to lift this cup that has a substantial weight to it with liquid. And I have to put it in my mouth, and I would have to use my mouth to make a suction to drink the coffee. It's a lot of quote unquote. It sounds tedious, right? Then like, do you think about all that before you drink coffee? No, you just do it because I want to drink coffee. The thing I also wanted to talk about was I don't mind. Like, I honestly, I not even honestly, I just don't care, right? If these people exist, people who say that they're gonna do it, but they don't end up doing it. It's whatever. But then it's a problem when that affects my life. I think that's with everyone, right? They don't really give a shit what the other person, if this person can do it or not. But if they don't follow, if they don't deliver, or if they ruin, if their inability ruins the entire pool of water, it contaminates it, I think that's when everyone has a problem. Do you think that's why you were drawn to the kitchen or to the restaurant industry in the first place? To get some sort of structure? I fell into the business accidentally, but it was certainly the only time in my life that I responded well to any kind of structure. I was grateful for it. It was the first time that I went home with any reason to be proud of myself. It was the first time that I cared about anybody else's opinion of me. It was the first time I respected myself or anybody else. It was definitely the first, the perfect mix of romance and, parental attitudes and sex and drugs and rock and roll. That's true. But you're absolutely right. It was that structure. It was that first hierarchy and structure and quantifiable organization, a value system that I recognized that I needed it, and I was grateful for it, and I liked it. Obviously, I fell in love with life long. I fell in love with life long before I started to get serious about food. That's how I digress. All right. Jesus, you can't even see. Oh, there we go. All right. I'll see you guys in the next video.